I know what you're thinking. Does safety ever take a vacation? No, safety never takes a vacation, not in any industry, especially in the drone industry. When some of the largest devices can be hovering overhead, how do you maintain safety? How do you maintain the latency so low that you can react to things that are happening to that device? There's a company that's figured it out. We're talking to them on this episode of Dev Radio. Hi, and welcome to the next episode of Microsoft Dev Radio. I'm Jerry, and I have a special show for you today. We're going to be talking to the CEO of Droneworks and the project that we've done with them. Now, where is Droneworks located, you might wonder? All the way over in Japan. This is going to be a very exciting interview. Now, on the call, I've got actually three people, including the CEO, Mr. Imamura, and I just want to begin by having everybody introduce themselves so we know who is on the call.
今村です。
My name is Imamura. I am the CEO, founder of Droneworks, and just to tell you a little bit about myself and how this will tie in later to what we talk about, I really enjoy my hobby, and my passion is model aeroplanes, radio-controlled aeroplanes, and canoeing. So more about that later.
Hi, Michael.
Thank you. My name is Fujimoto. I work on the Microsoft side on this project. My role is technical evangelist. And I was really hands-on help on this project, working very closely with Droneworks, with Imamura-san, to make this project a success.
And you're Microsoftの technical evangelist.
And my name is Ota. I am also a technical evangelist on the Microsoft side. My background is very much in embedded technologies. That's evolved slightly into embedded technologies and cloud, Internet of Things, IoT projects. I was very much in the background for this project. My colleague, Mr. Fujimoto, was really working closely with Droneworks. I was in the background giving support to Fujimoto. But I have known Mr. Imamura for a long time. We've worked together for a long time.
I see. Let me start by asking you a quick question, Mr. Oda. I have never been to Japan, and so I don't know what it's like to be an evangelist in Japan. How would you describe the developer community?
ですね、エヴァンジェリストとして、いろいろ。
So really, it's a very broad role, tech evangelist in Japan, a very, very hands-on technical role, but also you're providing consulting services, support services to companies. What we're trying to do is develop solutions with them, take things open source, help them do all of that. And basically, if I had to sum up my job, it would be that I want people to connect with Microsoft technology, connect with Microsoft solutions. That if that happens, then I've done my job.
Brilliant. It sounds like evangelism is the same all the way around the world. Now, Mr. Imamura, thank you for being on the call, talking to us about Droneworks. Introduce us to Droneworks. Who is this company?
はい。うちの会社は、2年前にできました。
So Droneworks is only 2 years old. It's a baby or a toddler. But I have 30 years, pretty prior to that, I have 30 years experience running a company with a lot of embedded technology, software and hardware related work I did for 30 years. And so Droneworks is a project of mine, a passion of mine that I started 2 years ago.
Terrific.
ですごく、簡単に、今
Okay, and if I had to sum up what Droneworks is about, to put it very simply, we're in the business of drones, the clue's in the name, and drones have a flight controller, and that flight controller for Droneworks is going to run on Linux. And what we want to do is provide a solution, an elegant solution to connect all the data that is generated by the flight controller and get that over to Azure. In a simple and clean and safe and secure way, and then provide lots of services from there. with that
I
data.
see. And I understand that Droneworks is really focusing on industrial drones. Can you explain what the difference between an industrial drone and all the other kinds are?
そうですね。まず一番の違いは大きさです。私たちがやっているのは、
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Industrial drones do differ quite greatly from perhaps what you or I think of as a drone. The units that we work with typically are 20 to 25 kilograms, which puts them in the 40 to 50 pound range. In terms of weight, in terms of their span, in terms of their size, you're looking at 1.5 meters, which is about 5 foot in diameter. So rather large and rather heavy. And sometimes it can be a different configuration, rather like a mini blimp or a balloon. So perhaps not the image that you think of drone when you think drone.
Huh. Wow. Now let's talk about the flight controller of a drone. There are so many demands and new demands coming for flight controllers. Why are flight controllers so difficult to make and so difficult to make well?
まずやっぱり、20キロぐらいのものが空を飛ぶということは。
So the easiest way to put this is that if you look at commercial drones, they're generally not 40 to 50 pounds. And so our number one, number two, number three priority is that this thing stays in the air and flies safely, stable operation. And Imamura-san's personal opinion is that for non-commercial drones, these drones that you can buy for fun, that's not such a strong thing that, the safety, let's say. Sometimes they do, for whatever reason, fly in areas that you don't want them to fly in. The simple way to put the flight controller, to explain it to someone, would be to say, think of a lot of sensors, a ton of sensors implemented on a 40, 50 pound drone. All of that data is getting funneled all the time, constantly, through the drone, through the flight controller, into the cloud with Azure, basically. And all of that data is going to be harnessed to provide better performance as we go forward, so that essentially these drones do not fall out of the sky.
Okay. So fascinating. We have these amazing drones with an amazing number of sensors, all of this data going to the cloud. Walk me through what this solution was.
はい、もちろんそれもありますけれども、特に、今回、
So the project this time was that I mentioned sensors before about the drones. The drone has over 50 sensors.
Wow.
So sending a ton of data, constantly streaming this data. And what you end up with is a enormous amount of data, ton of data. A lot of that data's let's say duplicated or not completely necessary, and what we needed is something in the middle between the device, the drone, and the cloud, to pare that data down, to make it more efficient, so we could do our job better. And that's something that Microsoft was able to provide us with, called Azure IoT Edge. And Azure IoT Edge processes or pre-processes a lot of that data before it gets anywhere near the cloud.
Fascinating. So using the IoT Edge, you don't have to suffer from the latency of sending it up to the cloud, waiting for it to be processed, then coming back and responding to it. Was that the value that Edge allowed you to do so much of the work locally?
はい、それだけではなく、全てクラウドで処理を。
That's what you stated there, Jerry, is obviously true, but also from a safety aspect, if you're processing all of your data on the cloud side, responses are poor, or response times are poorer. And let's say you've got a problem and you have to respond super fast. If you're doing your processing or pre-processing of the data on the edge side, on the drone side, then you've got much better chance of reacting quicker and maintaining safety than if you're going via the cloud for all your processes.
Fascinating. Wow. And the Edge is a brand new tool for us to use. That's really great. Mr. Imamura, will you tell me what your experience was? When you went into this project, what was your expectation? And when you came out of this project, what was the real experience?
そうですね。まず一番最初は、太田さんがやっていた普通に IoT。
So really, the way to look at this project, for me, the way it started, is that I went to a seminar hosted by Microsoft. Mr. Ota was presenting, and he did a very good presentation on Azure IoT. And a little light bulb went off in my head and thought, hang on, I can use this for drone data. And I don't know if Ota-san was thinking or even had considered drones as part of when he was doing this seminar, but it really kind of lit up a light bulb in my head for me. So I went to talk to him and I said, look, I'm in the drone space. I've got a ton of sensors, a ton of data. I need to get all of this information over to Azure, over to the cloud. It sounds like what you're proposing can really help me with that. So that's where it started. That's where the project launched, maybe about a year ago.
で、その次にやったのが、やったというよりは Azure のことがだんだん分かってくると Azure の中で
So as I learned more and more about Azure, I got my teeth into it. You know, I've been working in tech for over 30 years, so I like this kind of stuff. And so I really, really started digging into Azure. And it became clear very quickly that Azure can help and can make machine learning capable. And so I shifted my focus to what kind of data does Azure need? What kind of data do we need? Or how do we package the data to enable machine learning? This became very important because with machine learning, it's possible to create a flight controller that can predict problems, predict hazards, predict dangers, and then obviously work to avoid them.
Now,
最近
keep going.
最後なんですけれども、はい、その後、なんだっけ、キャンプで、ハックフェストを太田さんや、藤本さんと一緒にやってですね。
So to bring the story forward to the present, a few months ago, I think this was about February, there was an event called Hackfest in Japan. And Hackfest, I went with Ota-san and Fujimoto-san, and at Hackfest, we were very happy to come across, at that time, this was called Azure IoT Gateway. I believe it's changed its name, but at that time it was Azure IoT Gateway. Now, to explain a little bit about Japanese law, Japanese law mandates that if you're flying a drone and you're sending data using mobile networks, 3G, 4G mobile networks, you can't throw that straight into the cloud. That's not legally permitted in Japan. This has to go through a gateway that is based in terrestrial space, and so wow. That's the law. So obviously we have to abide by that law, and Azure IoT Gateway enables us to do that. So that's perfect for us. So data has to go from the control module to Wi-Fi to gateway to the cloud.
Like it was made just for you.
Yeah.
Perfect. Now, let me ask you, give me a picture of a standard use case. How would a drone like this be used?
少しだけどういう感じのドローンなのかという、話をすると、まだ
Just to give you an example though of what perhaps a 40 or 50 pound 1.5 meter or 5 foot drone would be used for is that in Japan, and obviously where you are, Jerry, there's a lot of interest, a lot of people are moving forward with automated control for driving. Obviously, when we think about that, we think about cars and trucks and stuff like that. But obviously drones as a vehicle, as a moving vehicle, will eventually be automated. These things are going to fly automated. So, and you have to do a ton of research on this. There's a lot of Japanese manufacturers, big and small, who are really excited about this and want to do a lot of research on automated operation. So, why do you need a 40 or 50 pound drone? Well, you have to mount a computer on this drone. And it has to take in a ton of data as it flies, and you want that computer on the drone itself. So that's why you need a drone capable of lifting a reasonable size computer and flying it around, because you're trying to develop solutions for automated operations.
I see. Now, Mr. Oda, you had the seminar that inspired this project. Isn't it amazing what a small effort like a seminar can change the direction or the work of a company? And isn't it also amazing and such a good feeling that the type of work that you do can really benefit our customers in real ways?
そうですね。先ほど今村さんに
Arigatou gozaimasu. Yes, from a tech evangelist point of view, these seminars are very, very important for us. To give you an idea of what we did at this particular one, this was actually a couple of years ago, the one that Imamura-san came to. The events are very hands-on. There's about 1,000 people there, 1,000 people interested in tech, like Imamura-san. It's very hands-on. We have an embedded board, so we have embedded hardware. We show it taking data from whatever source it's taking data from and transporting that data to Azure, to the cloud. The data is collected, it's collated, it's analyzed. There was a very simple demonstration of machine learning. So the machine learning showed that it could predict certain behaviors based on the data it was receiving. So I can see why the light bulb went off in Imamura-san's head. From this particular seminar, and I don't want these 1,000 people to walk away thinking, wow, that was cool, and then go back to their daily lives. I want them, like Imamura-san did, to come and connect with us individually and say, look, this is my project, I've got this great idea, it sounds like you can help me, we might have to make some tweaks, let's work together. And luckily, from an evangelist point of view, working with Imamura-san in the year and a half that we've done this, and with other people too who attended these seminars, that's what I enjoy.
Yeah. Now, Mr. Fujimoto, this was a cool project to be part of. Was it a cool project to be part of?
そうですね。今回僕初めて
So yeah, absolutely. This was my first time to be hands-on with a project with drones, working with IoT. It was a privilege to work with Imamura-san. He's got a very clear vision of where he wants to go. He's got a lot of passion, a lot of drive. And the result was something new, something that I feel can impact the future in a positive way. And what a privilege to work on that.
Now, this project used some very new technology, not technology that was 2 years old, but technology we're just starting to talk about, like Edge. What was the development experience?
いや、特に、試行錯誤はなくて、割とすんなり。
So even though we were using this new technology, Edge, as you mentioned, it's really cutting edge technology. There wasn't that much of trial and error, actually, because thanks to these two gentlemen here, Mr. Ota, Mr. Fujimoto, they really supported me and helped me through this process. But the switch from Gateway, which is what we were still calling it at Hackfest back in February, and now we refer to it as Edge. And it's not just a change of name. What it is, it's a change of the way that they look at how this data is funneled to the cloud and what you can do on the edge side in terms of data processing or pre-processing. Specifically AI tasks and what we call node management or node admin. That's a significant change from what we were working with Gateway. So from now on, I think the challenges are going to stack up because there's new things we can do on the edge side that are exciting, and we don't really, we're just working out these possibilities right now.
Now, I am very interested in, now that this solution is in place, now that you can do many of these things that took a long time to put into place, what do you hope will be the next thing that's unlocked, the next thing that you're able to do?
そうですね。まずハードウェアのところとソフトウェアのところ。
Absolutely. From now looking forward, if we think about drones and the part that we're obviously invested into, the flight controller, there's the physical hardware of the flight controller on board the drone, and then there's all the data processing, pre-processing that happens on the edge side, on the cloud side. Now, by combining these, what are we trying to do? What's our overall aim? Is for industrial drones, these heavy, large objects, is to ensure safe, reliable operation. Now, if you think about the car you drive or the aeroplane that you get on to take a flight somewhere. That hardware has gone through all sorts of safety checking and safety criteria, and there's obviously minimum standards in the industry because human beings are riding on these things. We want that same system for drones, and we want to be leading that conversation and showing just how safe these things can be. You know, obviously we can never get to 100% safe, but we want to get as close as we can so that they're reliable and super safe. And we believe that's all going to happen on the edge and in the cloud.
Brilliant. Now, Mr. Oda, somebody was listening to this story about Droneworks and they were inspired. Maybe they were an entrepreneur, maybe they were a developer. Where would you send them to learn more?
そうですね。私が公開しているのは全部日本語のコンテンツなので。
This time, for this particular Droneworks project, we've obviously made everything as available as we can. It's in Japanese, but there's plenty of, let's say, similar content available in English via our website. But Ota-san's saying the best thing you can do if you're listening to this and you're passionate and you think, yeah, I really want to get my teeth into a similar project, go and see a technical evangelist, a Microsoft technical evangelist in your country, in your territory, and make something together, physically build something together. That's how these things start.
Good advice. Good advice, and we'll make sure the link to everything is in the description of this video. Now, Mr. Fujimoto, I have to tell you, good job, clearly. You did great work on this project.
地元様、本当に一つお疲れ様でした。このプロジェクトの成果、とっても光栄ではないでしょうか。
ありがとうございます。もう皆さん、かわいい。
Thank you very much. I couldn't have done it on my own.
Of course.
Thanks to these gentlemen.
Of course, that's right. Now, Mr. Imamura, thank you for taking the time. Thank you for introducing us to Droneworks and stepping us through this solution.
今村様、本当に忙しいところ、いろいろ話をしていただきまして、Droneworks のことを丁寧に説明していただきまして、本当にありがとうございました。
どういたしまして。
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Terrific. Thank you. Bye-bye.